So, question number one is an interesting one. It says, Chris, what are your views on cannabis? Some people say it can be helpful. You've alluded to its usage before, and I was wondering if you feel it helps or hurts productivity.
Yeah, that is an interesting question. And I'm happy to answer it. I do use cannabis. Okay, let's just get that out of the way.
And I have.
You have, right? We have together actually. I think when we were in LA, we were doing that photo shoot. We went off in the we were hiking in the deal there. Remember we smoked a little at
Yeah.
yeah, it was good. That was a good day.
It's a good day.
But yeah, so I think it's really worth pointing out the fact that the reason I'm not as outspoken about this as I am about other things is because I want to always make sure I'm doing everything in my power to set a good example. And I know there are numerous of occasions that I fall short. This is one that's a little tricky because not to sound hypocritical, but although I use it, I know and I'm acutely aware that it is not for everybody and everybody shouldn't use it. In fact, not only, are there people who aren't currently not using it, who shouldn't use it. There are a disproportionately high number of people who do use it, who absolutely should not. And I'm going to explain why. It affects everybody differently. Okay, your intention with anything matters.
And there's several types of cannabis too.
Right.
One is, I don't know what the name of it is.
Yeah, the
Makes you
sativa.
go to sleep. And
Yeah,
the
sativa and indica. That a lot of that is myth.
You think?
The indica.
Indica, that's what it is.
Indica has properties in it that kind of mellows you out a little bit, depending on how potent it is. Could certainly make you sleepy. But again, like it doesn't matter the strain. What matters is how you are wired.
I agree. Because
how you are wired.
Some people can drink coffee and go to bed. Other people.
That's
almost have
not
a
as
heart
good
attack.
of an example as like alcohol.
Yeah.
Right? Like alcohol affects people differently. Like you and I go out and we could do 10 shots of tequila and we're good, right? We're not acting like someone or something. We're not, right? We're maybe a little altered, but like we're in a good place. Other people, they drink alcohol and they turn into a completely different person and just shouldn't do it. Now, the thing is, marijuana is from the earth. So that is evidence that it's actually good for you in the right capacity to some degree. But all that is dependent upon how much you do, right? It depends on what your circumstances are. They use it to treat a number of medical related conditions from cancer, right? It's been used effectively to help with cancer, glaucoma, all kinds of other things. Medicinally, it has profound benefits. Anxiety, like real anxiety, right? Not people who say they have anxiety so they can go get the card and obtain it legally at that point. It can be very beneficial in a multitude of capacities. But if you're someone who smokes and just end up sitting on the couch, eating chips, watching TV, and just being a lazy piece of shit, like it's not for you. Okay. The question, I believe it asked about productivity. Does it help or hurt productivity? The answer to that is it depends. It depends on you. It depends on you. It depends how you're wired. It depends what level of consciousness you're currently operating from. And it depends, like, what are we talking about? Like productivity in what area? Like, are we talking about smoking and then writing code? Or are we talking about like smoking and cleaning your room? Right? Are we talking about like smoking and like going to work, or are we talking about like smoking and going like we did on a hike and doing a photo shoot? Like it all depends. But what I will tell you, that either way, regardless of scenario, if you're not productive on it, and just because you're hearing because there are some successful people that are very outspoken on it and advocate its use. Look, that might not be you, and in all reality, it's probably not. The stigma with people who smoke weed for a lot of years, and it's kind of like, like the doper with the, the hemp hoodie and like the long, like dreadlock hair that, just wakes up in the morning and like hits the bong with a 2-week-old bong water in it and then just goes through their day like stoned as hell. There's a reason why that stigma exists. And I will tell you that stigma is actually like, it's a real thing. The majority, I think if we had a way to objectively understand like the demographic of individuals who smoke weed, and that demographic was not based off like race, gender, age, or anything like that, but intention. If we had a way to understand that, I think that there would be an insanely high number of people who use it just to get high.
Yeah.
And if you're using it just to get high with no functional purpose attached, and if it again makes you feel like tired, lazy, you can't think straight, it makes you like dumber, you're unproductive, like you absolutely shouldn't use it. And for me, I'll tell you, like, I'll smoke before I train in the evenings. I never smoke during the day.
Before you train? Yeah.
Before I train. Yeah. It's not, how is it? It's good. It's great.
Why is that though?
It gets me.
Because I have a lot of people that have done that.
Honestly, for me, it kind of, for me, it serves as it gives me the ability to transition from my day and whatever things and energy and issues that might be on my mind. It gives me the opportunity to basically kind of shut a part of my brain off, put all that stuff like out, get all that stuff out of the way, and basically focus on the mission at hand, which is to train. And when I smoke, I mean, I'll take no more than 2 hits and I'm locked in. I get an amazing pump. I'm on it. My energy, I don't get as tired because I'm just surgically focused on what needs to be done. I'm almost too focused to even, I guess, draw awareness to the fact that I'm tired or I'm out of breath. And I know my workouts now, like I become very, very structured with my workouts as far as before my workouts, like I have like a routine that I will follow based off of workouts that I wrote up during the pandemic when everything was shut down and I started building the gym at my house. I started to document my workouts, and one day I'm going to do something with this. I'm trying to build this like collective library. So I'll basically pull a workout from there, maybe modify it a little bit. I'll put it on my board, or if I'm not training at my home gym, reference it from my phone. But it's like, this is what I'm doing. And like, that's it. Like there's no corners that are going to be cut. I'm going to do this. I'm going to commit to doing this. I'm going to do the work and that's it. And I feel great. After the fact, I go out of that workout in just an elevated state of consciousness, because for me, when I take a couple hits of marijuana, it puts me in a different state of consciousness. And then on top of that, I get the benefits from the workout and I'm in a good place to wind down for the evening. But I don't ever smoke like during the day. Not to say that I guess I did that time that we were.
Yeah. But I mean, to be productive, like I would never use it to be productive. To me, it relaxes me and puts me to sleep. Mm-hmm. So I use it for exactly that.
Yeah.
I have oil, lasts 5-6 hours. If I'm anxious, if I need to get some sleep, if whatever, I train too hard or whatever the deal is, and something's keeping me up, I take that and I sleep.
Yeah.
I'm good.
So using it because you like the way it feels, okay, that's not it. That's not what you need to be concerned with, okay? What you do, how you perform, is it actually helping you be more productive? And the simple fact is, again, if we had a way of determining like why people actually use it and what they're actually using it for, I would say that there's probably a very, very minor, probably single percentage of people that use it in the capacity that I do, as far as not only training, but I mean, there are times that, like even after training, I'll take a couple more hits and I'll just be kind of winding down, planning my day for the next day, or I write up I'll write some content. Yeah. My brain works better in certain situations when I smoke. Now, not all the time, but again, because it gives me the ability to kind of clear the other stuff out of my head, I'm now operating from a different place of consciousness. I now have more mental energy, which will now reflect in the byproduct of whatever it is I'm working on. So for me, but I'm wired different than people. People who know me and listen to this podcast and follow me, you know that I do things a little differently than most people. I'm never getting high and laying on the couch and watching TV. That's just something I would never do. I did shit like that in high school, right? And I hated it. I hated the way I felt when I would get high, eat like a couple bowls of cereal, fall asleep, then wake up from that nap like cereal belly and just still kind of like high and disoriented. Intention matters. And the fact is, if it's not helping you get better, then it's doing the opposite. There's no middle ground. So you have to be mindful, you have to be self-aware, and you have to understand that just because, you know, you hear about Joe Rogan and some other successful people that are actually doing it and are doing good and living well for themselves, like that is not something that necessarily indicates that it's something you should do. So take inventory of that, because if you smoke and, you know, you get lazy and you're not productive and, you know, all these things, like, you shouldn't do it. And then don't use the excuse either that, oh, I use it to go to sleep. Like, look, there's actually studies that have been done and are in the process of being done that are showing that marijuana usage, although it does help you kind of get sleepy and it will help you fall asleep faster, it actually prohibits you from going into the deep stages of REM sleep. Now, there isn't like a lot in abundance of these studies, but I've heard people speaking on this and it's coming. So that's the other thing. Like, you might be sleeping for however many hours, but if the quality of your sleep is being compromised because you're smoking before bed, you're not getting the rejuvenation effects and the kind of replenishing benefits of a good night's sleep, which is really, really important. So yeah, I don't want to go on too much more about this, but it's all circumstantial.
It's a great situational aid.
Yeah.
For whatever situation you might need.
And self-awareness has to be present at optimal levels in order for you to intelligently make that decision. But by no means is because you like how you feel when you're high, people, I guess, love the fact of kind of blocking out the reality, right?
Yeah, that's so
like,
weird to me,
but you have to know that that's what you're doing. If you just like to get high, understand why. Ask yourself those questions. Keep asking yourself those questions until you get to the core and you understand. Because if you're trying to just temporarily block out your reality, well, you should literally go get the bag of weed that you have in your home right now and go flush it down the toilet, because you need to confront those things. You need to come to terms with those things in order to start taking the corrective behaviors to where you don't feel the need to mask your reality via a substance like marijuana.